The pharmacist slid the prescription back across the counter. She looked at Megan and didn't blink.
I won't fill this, and you should sit down. We need to talk about your mother.
What? Why? It's just Mom's refill. What could be wrong with that?
Sandra gestured toward the small consultation window at the end of the counter. Her voice was low but firm.
Please, Megan, this is important. I can't give you this medication until we talk.
She knows my name? How? I've never been here before. Something is really wrong.
Megan's legs felt weak. She gripped the edge of the counter, her knuckles white against the laminate.
Sit down, honey. I need to ask you some questions about your mother's prescriptions, about what you've been taking.
The world tilted. Megan slid onto the stool behind the partition, the paper scrunching under her fingers. Sandra sat opposite her, the prescription form still in hand. She stared at it like it held a secret. 3 years earlier, Megan was 21 and already fighting a body that didn't feel like her own. She collapsed during a clinical rotation. No warning, just gray vision and the floor rushing up.
The doctors are guessing. I am a nurse. Let me handle your care from now on.
Within a week, Patricia had organized a cocktail of supplements and medications into a daily pill organizer.
This one is for your stomach, this for energy, and this tiny one, liver support. It's mild.
It felt safe, handing my health to someone who loved me. I stopped asking questions.
The medication made her head heavy. In class, Megan would stare at the same paragraph for 10 minutes.
But she was grateful. At least Mom understood. She never made me feel like a burden.
By the end of the semester, Megan moved back home. Her mother took over everything.
You are in good hands, sweetheart. Just keep taking what I give you, and you'll be fine.
Each morning began the same. Patricia's hand, palm open, 2 pills waiting beside a glass of water.
She never had to ask what they were for. Mom always had an answer ready, and it always sounded right.
At the university, she fought through a fog that thickened by the hour. Words blurred. Her pen stalled mid-sentence.
Just brain fog from the chronic illness. That's what Mom said. She's probably right.
The liver enzymes are just a side effect of the stress on her body. We're monitoring them closely.
At every appointment, Patricia spoke for her. Megan never saw her own test results.
It was easier that way. Mom understood the medical jargon. I just needed to get better.
Don't forget your evening dose, Megan. Your body needs consistency or the symptoms flare.
She drove home from class, some days barely remembering the route. The radio hummed, the streetlights blurred, and every night, she took the pills her mother laid out. Without question, without knowing what they actually were. 3 years into the routine, Megan's body was a clock of dependencies. The next dose was due at 6. When she pulled up to her regular pharmacy, the lights were off. A handwritten sign hung on the door. Closed for family emergency.
Mom said I can't skip a dose. The backup pharmacy is only 10 minutes away.
The other location sat in a strip mall, fluorescent lights spilling through the windows onto the asphalt.
In and out. Just a refill. None of this matters.
She fumbled in her bag for the prescription slip and her own medication bottle, its label worn from daily handling.
Hi, I need to pick up a refill for my mom, Patricia. I also have my own bottle from the same family pill organizer, if that helps.
The pharmacist, an older woman with silver-streaked hair, took both. Her eyes moved between the 2 labels.
Why is she looking at it like that? It's just a refill.
The silence stretched. Then the pharmacist looked up. Her face changed, not annoyed, alarmed.
Megan, how long have you been taking the pills from this bottle?
Why is she asking about my pills? They're just what Mom gave me.
This prescription is for your mother. The medication in your bottle doesn't match what it should be.
That's impossible. My mother is a nurse. She wouldn't make a mistake.
Sandra's finger traced the label. The drug name stared back at her. A low-dose antiepileptic. She reached for the phone to check the system.
Megan, have you ever been diagnosed with epilepsy? Have you ever had seizures?
Seizures? Number? Never. Why would she ask that?
This medication is primarily used for seizure disorders. It's not a stomach medication or a supplement. It's a powerful neurological drug.
That can't be true. Mom said it was for my liver. She wouldn't lie about that.
Sandra set the bottle down gently, her expression hardening into something Megan had never seen on a pharmacist's face. Certainty that something was deeply wrong. Sandra turned to the computer, fingers flying over the keyboard, pulling up years of prescription data.
Patricia has been filling this exact anti-epileptic prescription monthly for over 2 years. There is no neurological diagnosis on file for her with this insurance. No epilepsy, no seizures.
Megan felt her stomach clench. The careful explanations her mother had given her for years started to fray at the edges.
Now, the other pill you said you take, the one for stomach issues, do you know what it's called?
She just called it a mild anti-nausea. I don't know the actual name.
Let me check common interactions. If it's what I suspect, the combination would be toxic.
She typed in a few commands, then stopped, staring at the screen with a tight jaw.
Megan, the symptoms you described, fatigue, confusion, elevated liver enzymes, are classic signs of long-term toxicity from this exact drug combination.
Sandra printed the toxicity warning, circled the interaction in red, and set it beside the bottle. Her expression said what she wouldn't yet voice aloud.
Megan, look at this printout. The drug you've been taking, combined with the other one, produces exactly the symptoms you've described: fatigue, confusion, liver damage.
No. There has to be an explanation. My mother is a nurse. She loves me.
There is no medical justification for her to be filling this. She has no neurological condition. Yet, she's been requesting it monthly for over 2 years.
She told me it was a supplement for my liver. She said doctors miss things. She was helping.
Megan, as a pharmacist, I am obligated to tell you, this is not a simple mistake. The toxicity of this combination is well documented. It could have been fatal.
The word fatal sliced through the air. Megan's hands began to tremble.
If this is true, then every day for 3 years, I've been slowly destroying myself. And she knew.
I know you don't want to believe it, but the evidence is right here. Your mother's name is on the prescription. The pills are in your bottle.
Why would she do this to me? I don't understand.
The printed warning slipped from Megan's grip, landing face up on the counter. The red circle stared back at her like an accusation she could no longer ignore.
I cannot fill this prescription, Megan. Not today. Not while I know what it's doing to you.
Sandra slid a printed card across the counter. An emergency hepatologist, circled in blue ink.
This doctor is the best in the region. She needs to see your liver function immediately.
A hepatologist. She's serious. This is real.
Megan took the card with shaking fingers. The pharmacy lights buzzed overhead, harsh against her skin.
Go home. Do not take any more of those pills. And reconsider who you trust with your body.
How can I go home? How can I face her?
She stepped out into the parking lot, the referral card damp in her sweating palm.
What do I do? Do I believe a stranger over my own mother?
She sat in her car for a long time, staring at the name on the card, before she finally turned the key. The drive home blurred. Streetlights smeared into long, accusing fingers pointing toward the front door. Patricia was waiting in the living room, arms folded beneath the dim glow of a single lamp.
You are late. Did you get my refill? You are as pale as a sheet.
They were out of stock. I'll go back tomorrow.
Patricia's eyes narrowed, a flicker of something cold, before melting into practiced concern.
Out of stock? That's strange. Which pharmacist did you speak to?
Why does she need to know? She's interrogating me.
Patricia took a step forward, her gaze dropping to Megan's bag, then back to her face.
I need to lie down. I'll handle it tomorrow.
She fled to her room, locking the door. In the dark, she pulled the crumpled referral card from her pocket and stared at the number. She would call tomorrow. The next morning, Megan drove to the address on the card, her hands clammy on the wheel. She told no one. The hepatologist's office was cold and quiet. Megan sat on the exam table as the doctor read the referral note with a deepening frown. An ultrasound probe pressed against her abdomen. The doctor's eyes never left the screen. The clicking of keys filling the silence. The image on the screen revealed scarring. Areas that should be smooth were rough, fibrotic. Evidence of chronic, low-grade damage, a blood draw, then an hour of waiting. When the doctor returned, her face was unreadable. She held a printed lab report. Miss Torres, you have significant liver fibrosis and high levels of carbamazepine in your blood. That's an anti-epileptic medication. Do you have a seizure disorder?
Number. I've never had seizures. My mother gave me pills for my stomach and liver, but I don't know the names.
The doctor set the report down. This drug is not prescribed for stomach issues. Combined with another you mentioned, it explains all your symptoms: fatigue, confusion, liver toxicity. Someone has been administering this to you without medical necessity. You need to stop immediately and consider who had access to your medications.
It was her. All along, it was her. She made me sick.
Megan walked into the kitchen. The lab report crumpled in her fist. Patricia was at the counter, filling the weekly pill organizer as if nothing had changed.
I went to a hepatologist today. She ran tests. This is the result.
What tests? Why would you go without telling me?
Because a pharmacist refused to fill your prescription. She said the pills I've been taking are anti-epileptics, and my blood work proves it.
That's impossible. The pharmacy must have mislabeled. You know how these chains can be negligent.
But Megan saw it. The briefest flicker in her mother's eyes. Not confusion, but cold, rapid calculation.
The doctor said someone has been administering this to me deliberately. For years. My liver is damaged. Who else could it be?
You are being dramatic. I gave you what doctors recommended. If there's a mistake, it's their fault, not mine. I've only ever tried to help you.
Megan stared at the woman who raised her, and for the first time she saw a stranger. The mask had slipped, and behind it was something hungry.
She's lying, and she'll do it again if I don't stop her.
Megan locked herself in her room and dragged the old family storage boxes from the back of her closet. She sifted through yellowed photographs until her fingers stilled on a picture of her cousin. Age 16, smiling. Behind the photo, a folded newspaper clipping fluttered to the floor. Megan smoothed it open. The headline read, "Unexplained liver failure, claims local teen, 19." The date was March 15th, 2011.
Unexplained liver failure. Just like me. And she was only 19.
With shaking hands, she pulled up the state's online vital records and searched the name. The death certificate confirmed it. Cause undetermined, liver failure.
Mom was her aunt's favorite sister. She spent so much time helping, always bringing her things.
Megan laid the death certificate next to her own lab report. The dates, the symptoms, the proximity to her mother. The pattern was unmistakable.
It wasn't an accident. She made my cousin sick too, and it killed her. How many others? How long has she been doing this? I have to stop her.
The next morning, Megan slipped her phone, recording app open, into her sweatshirt pocket. She found Patricia in the living room.
Mom, I need to understand. How did I end up taking your anti-epileptic pills? For 3 years?
I told you, it was a mistake. Pharmacies mix up labels all the time. You are overreacting.
A mistake repeated every month for over 2 years? Number, you gave me those pills on purpose.
I was trying to protect you. You've always been so fragile. Sometimes accidents happen with people who are so sick.
Accidents? She's admitting it. She thinks she was helping. What about my cousin? Was that an accident too?
Why are you bringing her up? That was a tragedy. You are twisting things because you are unwell.
Megan pulled out the phone and stopped the recording. The screen went dark. She had what she needed.
This is enough to start. I need to call Sandra. She'll know what to do.
That afternoon, Megan drove back to the pharmacy and asked to speak with Sandra privately. In the cramped back office, Megan played the recording. Sandra listened in silence, her face growing pale.
This is what I was afraid of, Megan. You need to call a social worker I trust. She handles cases just like this.
Sandra handed over a business card. The name was unfamiliar, but the title, Medical Abuse Specialist, made Megan's stomach clench. An hour later, Megan was seated across from a social worker with gentle eyes who introduced herself as Miss Harper.
Megan, what you've experienced has a clinical name, Munchausen by proxy. It's when a caregiver fabricates or induces illness for attention. It has a name, Munchausen by proxy. It's real. I am not crazy. If you are willing, we can file a report with the state health department. An investigation will open.
The weight of the word investigation settled on Megan's shoulders, but she straightened, meeting the social worker's gaze.
I am ready. Let's file the report.
With Miss Harper's guidance, Megan filled out the state's formal complaint line by line, detailing 3 years of unexplained illness. She listed every medication her mother had given her, every doctor visit where Patricia had spoken over her. 2 days later, a state investigator called and asked to meet Megan at the Department of Health office.
We've reviewed your preliminary report. I need to see the evidence you've gathered, the lab work, the recording.
In a sterile office, Megan handed over a manila envelope. It contained her lab reports, the death certificate, and the recording.
This recording is significant. She essentially admits to giving you medication that wasn't prescribed.
The investigator copied the files and returned the originals. Then she slid a formal witness statement across the table. Megan signed it without hesitation. Her signature felt heavier than any paper she'd ever held.
I am opening a formal investigation into Patricia Torres for medical child abuse. This is serious.
Megan walked out into the cold afternoon light. The investigation had begun. She could finally breathe. A week later, the state ordered Patricia to undergo a mandatory psychiatric evaluation in a cold, institutional room.
Mrs. Torres, can you explain why your daughter's medication bottles contained pills prescribed to you? I was only trying to help her. She's always been fragile. The stress of nursing school was too much.
The evaluator noted every deflection, every phrase that mirrored known patterns of medical child abuse.
When did you first begin giving Megan these medications? Was it recently or earlier? She's had health issues since she was 12. All I did was try to manage them, because no one else could.
The evaluation report was damning. It diagnosed Patricia with Munchausen by proxy, citing a pattern since childhood. The abuse began when Megan was 12 and escalated each time she tried to become independent. College, moving out. The state barred Patricia from contacting Megan and moved forward with formal abuse proceedings. Megan read the diagnosis in her room, tears of validation mixing with grief. The cousin's death lingered, a question still unanswered. The investigator called again. The diagnosis had sparked a review of cold cases, including the cousins. The state announced it was reopening the 2011 death investigation. Patricia could face murder charges. Sandra received a subpoena. Her testimony on the prescriptions and toxicity would be central.
They're finally looking at the cousin. Maybe she'll get justice too.
Local news broke the story. Former nurse investigated in daughter's poisoning, linked to second death.
Sandra, they're subpoenaing you. Thank you for everything. I couldn't have done this alone.
I am glad to help, Megan. You've been so brave. We'll see this through together.
Megan hung up and looked at the photograph of her cousin. The resemblance was uncanny. The cousin's medical records were subpoenaed. A new forensic pathologist was assigned to review the liver tissue samples. 2 cases now intertwined. The pharmacist's refusal to fill a single prescription had unlocked a decade-old mystery. Megan flung her belongings into a suitcase. She would not spend another night in that house. She locked the front door and dropped the keys through the mail slot. The sound was final. At a friend's apartment, she pinned the hepatologist's detox plan to the fridge. A new routine began. For the first time, she took only what a doctor prescribed. No unlabeled pills. No mother's hand. Within 2 months, her liver enzyme levels returned to normal. The scarring had stabilized. She started running along the river in the mornings. Her lungs burned. but it felt like freedom. She returned to her nursing clinicals. Her hands were steady, her mind clear.
I used to drag myself through the day. Now I actually feel awake. This is what health feels like.
A call from the prosecutor reminded her that the trial was approaching. She was ready to face it. She walked down the hospital corridor in her scrubs, head high, no longer a victim. The trial began on a gray morning. Megan sat outside the courtroom, her hands folded tightly, the recording in her bag.
I trusted her with my life, and she used that trust to poison me.
The prosecutor played the recording. Patricia's voice echoed through the speakers. Cold and detached, Sandra walked to the stand in her white coat. She presented the prescription records, the toxicity circles.
I've been a pharmacist for 31 years. I've never seen a medication error this sustained. It was deliberate.
Patricia's lawyer tried to argue diminished capacity, but the evaluation report was clear. The jury returned in less than 3 hours. Guilty on all counts of medical child abuse. The judge's voice was steady as she read the sentence. 15 years in state prison.
15 years. It won't bring back my cousin, but it stops her from hurting anyone else.
Outside the courthouse, Megan breathed deeply. The cousin's case was still pending, but today, justice was real. Months passed. Megan completed her final exams with a clarity she'd never thought possible.
I need to invite Sandra. She's the only reason I am standing here.
She mailed a handwritten invitation, its edges straight, every word deliberate.
I wouldn't miss it for the world. You've earned this, Megan.
She'll be there. The woman who saved my life.
In her apartment, Megan adjusted her nursing uniform in the mirror, the fabric crisp and unfamiliar. She pinned her old hospital ID badge over her heart, the one from the day it all started.
This badge means more than a career. It means I took my life back.
She looked in the mirror, a healthy color in her cheeks, her eyes clear. Tomorrow, she would become a nurse. She turned off the light, the badge gleaming under the faint glow from the street lamp outside. The auditorium filled with the families of nursing graduates, cameras ready. Megan stood backstage, her heart pounding. Her name was called. She stepped onto the stage, the bright lights washing over her face. In the third row, Sandra rose slowly, her hands pressed together beneath her chin. Tears welled in her eyes.
This is for everyone who doubted me, for my cousin, for myself.
The instructor pinned the nursing pin onto her uniform, right beside the old hospital ID badge. Megan turned to face the audience. Her eyes searched, then found Sandra sitting in the sea of faces.
She did it. She's a nurse.
Their eyes locked. Megan's lips moved silently, the words lost in the applause, but they didn't need to be heard. Sandra nodded, her hand pressed to her heart. A lifetime of vigilance, repaid in a single glance. The applause thundered. For the first time, Megan stood not as a patient, but as a healer. After the ceremony, Megan found Sandra near the exit doors, away from the crowd. They embraced, the years of silent suffering and quiet courage distilled into one tight hug.
I just did my job, Megan. That's what pharmacists do.
Number, you did more than your job. You gave me a second chance. You gave me my life back.
Sandra squeezed her hand. Neither needed to say more.
I almost didn't survive, but a stranger's vigilance saved me. Now, I carry that vigilance into every patient room.
She paused at the top of the steps and looked back, toward the city, toward the pharmacy that changed everything. The familiar sign glowed in the distance, the place where a pharmacist refused to fill a prescription and saved a life. Megan turned and walked forward, her shadow long on the pavement, her future finally her own. The pharmacy lights remained on behind her, a quiet sentinel in the darkening city, proof that one person paying attention can change everything.